Last week was not a bueno week, but it's Monday. You know, it's pretty, is it bad when you're looking forward to the Mondays? Let's go take a look. Welcome back to the channel. This video here, the first video we're recording in the year 2025, and we're stepping up the games just a little bit. I got a couple goals this year, a couple changes we're gonna make. Number one, if you notice, I might be a little uglier than usual because you should be looking at me in the 4Ks. So we're gonna up our game in video taking. We're still rocking the GoPro, I think this is a 9, but for the Christmas presents we got a 13. And so now we have two GoPros, you know, because we're high dollar around here. And both of them, we got them set up to do the 4K. So that's what we're gonna do. And then one of the other things we want to try and get back to for 2025 is one of the things last year I wanted to double the amount of invoices I put out for the shop. And well, we almost hit that goal. In 2023, we did 54 total invoices. This last year, 24, we got up to 94. So we got really close. And keep in mind, an invoice is anything from a big project to a small, you know, rebuild of a carburetor, that kind of thing. So some of the invoices were quick, some of them were very long. That patina, the wipe-on patina fiasco, if you're ever considering doing a wipe-on, one of these wipe-on patina jobs, go up and watch this video and then punch yourself in the belly and don't let yourself do it. All right, not to wipe on. We're probably going to revisit the old clear coat patina with a spray application, but wipe on bad. Anywho, back to what we're doing in 2025. This year we're not going to focus so much on the old mechanic stuff, because what that does is it brings in more late model work, which I don't mind. It pays the bills. But what we want to do around here is work on the classics and the hot rods. We got lots of our own projects, and right now we're up to 3 fairly extensive and all-inclusive builds or restorations on some vintage stuff here. And those are the '74 Bronco. We still have it. We're jumping right back into it. That's what this video is getting into in just a minute. And we have the '62 Rambler wagon. That's a lot of work. And then we had a neighbor drop off a '50 Chevy Coupe that has been in the barn for years and years and years and needs to run and drive again. So that's 3 big projects. And in between that, we're going to be working on some other hot rods. Plus, we've got to get back on some of our projects. We've got the poor Plymouth Fury 3 still sitting here without a windshield that still needs a little bit of rust repair on the eyebrow, and then that thing is going to be ready to market. We've got the International pickup. We've got the orange shop truck still sitting out here patiently waiting for a 460 fuel injected 460 upgrade. We've got the mini truck. We've had quite a few comments on the mini truck videos, and we got to get that updated, and we got cool ideas going for that. We've got Chevy Loves, we've got square bodies, the DeSoto's sitting out here very patiently waiting. Still need an exhaust manifold, but we got all the brake stuff. It's sitting in a box back here. So that's what we're doing for 2025. We're going to back off of some of this, you know, Johnny needs an oil change stuff. Now I still have, if you're one of my customers and you're tried and true, don't worry, I ain't gonna bail on you, but we're gonna take a step back further away from that. So back to the Bronco. All right, quit rambling, Jarrett. We are and this side's already done. We're tackling the back end rust on this bad ride. In the back edge of the wheel tubs, right here, you can see air hole. There's hole, there's air, there's vision through there. And on the, we already did the hard side. And so here's what we took out. That piece, and this was part of that piece. Went on something like that, and this piece was, I don't know, somewhere here. This was here, this was over here, and this was somewhere over here. So all this nastiness came out, and we made new metal patch panels and got everything welded in. Now, if you go back in some of the previous Bronco videos, we've explained it. This does have some pretty significant pitting all around the edges of the inside of the body here. It had mises in it. Like we've said before, the mises travel around the edges, and they poops and they pees, and they're not very clean. And so that's how you get rust on a lot of these old rigs that sit, is they actually rust from the inside out. Now, these holes are not that. This is actual rust from road debris and rust and stuff like that. But really, this is all we got back here. We had the same thing here, and a little bit of hole here and here, and a couple holes down in this corner. But that's all been fixed up. If we can get around, that's about all you can see on the inside. Still got to be tidied up just a little bit. We're finishing up with a little bit of grinding and flap wheel, and then we got to hit it with some seam sealer. And oh, by the way, we found another place over here. See this hole right here? That goes, if you could, if it was light enough underneath there, you can see ground. And what Ford did, we just plucked it out of there. They just put a boop, big old gob of seam sealer there. So when you see folks using seam sealer like I do, you know, don't freak out, because there's a reason why they make good automotive sealants and adhesives, because they work, and because you have to do something when you're working on these metals and you got the seams and the cracks to keep stuff out. This Bronco has seam sealer literally in every seam, and it's the right way to do it. So on this side, it's going to be way more easier. We got her marked out here. We're going to come up to about here, come down. We'll have a little bit of bendy making the panel fit here, and overall it's going to have a little bit of a curve to it. And then we're going to come here out to about here and over. We've got a couple pinholes right here in the corner, and then once we get these two panels out, we'll be able to better kind of diagnose the health of the side piece here. We might have to come up and come out to about here. Now back here, I think we're going to clean up okay. We got some pitting, but it's still really solid. So we're going to clean that really well with some abrasives and wire brushes and stuff. And then once we get all of our patching done, it's going to get Por 15 or some sort of a rust neutralizer, rust coating all around the edges. The parts that are going to show, we'll get a little bit of new Viking red. The parts that aren't are probably just going to remain, you know, protected and under new carpeting. Anywho, I rambled on for, what's that say, 9 minutes? My golly, dudes and dudettes, I apologize. Let's get you on a tripod and let's cut out some rusties. I turned off my tunes, but I forgot to hit the record button. We got things escalated, and we took another piece out. So we're done cutting, I believe. And now we just got to clean up. But here's where our extra hole was. You can see it there. And on the back side, you won't be able to see, but there's some swelling right here. So this would have gone next. And I think we are in a very good place. So we'll get this cleaned up, and then the first replacement piece we make will be this inner fender side piece. It's gonna sit right here, and we will make this bent brake at the front of it, and then when we make our filler panel here, it'll have a brake on the side, and our new floor panel will have a brake on the side, and we'll be able to plug weld those back together here. And then the floor piece will also have a brake on the front that'll plug weld into this piece. It'll hang down below floor level right to where this edge is here, or thereabouts. Alright, piece number one is pretty much ready to go. We've got a little bit of a gap here where our brake is between the old and the new, but what we'll do is we'll get everything flush tack mounted around this edge, and we're just using a couple welding magnets to keep things, you know, held in place. And we're gonna go tack, 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 and then when we get back here, we'll do a little more manipulating to close that up, and we'll tack that up. Okay, so now we're all ticky-tacked, and we just went in with our regular old cowboy pliers here and bent this around so it's at a 90, and then we can take both of these edges and just kind of crimp them and twist a little bit. There. Now that seam's nice and flush. We'll tack that seam, and then we can go back through and start. We'll just zipper this up with tack welds until it's all welded up. We've got a little edge here. We'll have to come in and tippy tap some of this down. And the reason why you can't just go in here and zip zap all this at once, you put too much heat into this thin sheet metal, it'll look like fried bacon when you're done. Okay, so this is a whole week plus later alert. We got bogged down in fixing our own junk, and yeah, what was supposed to take a weekend and about a half a Monday, I buttoned it up Friday mid-morning. So last week was not a bueno week, but it's Monday. You know, it's pretty, is it bad when you're looking forward to the Mondays? But here we are, we find ourselves back on the Bronco. We had a couple pinholes and we marked them with the Sharpie. We went back in there and zip zapped those closed. So the ways you check these to make sure that they're good is you come back in here with the light, and if you can see right there, we got a little hole. Right here, a little poke through, and right here, a little poke through. The rest of it we've already sealed up. We'll zip zap those, and then in the meantime, we went ahead and started building our next piece, and I left it over here on the bench. Apologize for that. But here's where we're going next, is we built this guy here, and what we're going to do is we're going to tack it over on the right hand side by my thumb, and then over here we've got a little bit of a gap, but we'll tack along that upper edge along there, And as we tack that in, we'll manipulate this with a body hammer and just a little bit of pushing on it, and it should come right in the line. Then we'll come down this vertical edge, and we also drilled it on the bottom because this last piece that goes in here will have a break, and a break. Something like this, only much bigger. And then we'll plug weld to that break through here. We might have to hold this by hand. We're going to try to get a little magnetic help on it here. Go there and there. Yeah, that's going to work. A little high there. We'll have to just kind of manipulate that and then see. We're pretty darn good all through here, and then as we get over here, we'll come in and we'll help this. We're going to help it, you know, just a little bit down into there and get this corner all flush and pretty looking. We're a little high here. We're gonna have to dimple that down, but right now we're gonna concentrate on this corner some more. A little bit there. Oh, too much maybe. There we go. Yeah, that'll get us there. Now we'll jump down here and we'll get this flush here and put a tack there, and then this will get just a little bit of hammer work to roll this edge around. I'm gonna have to put a heavier glove on for this one. Just like that. We kind of planned it that way even, guys. I know you probably may not believe me, but we're real close now. We'll come in here and we'll just go. Oh yeah, that's nice. Just a little bit more. Was too much. Come back out. Sorry. We're going to tack here. This corner's looking good. Sometimes you just got to take your mitten off. That's actually pretty nice. We're out a little right here. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. There's a little divot right here actually, and that's what's goofing us up. Here, I'll show you. So first I thought we just weren't matching this, and I was a little concerned. I didn't want to, you know, have a flat spot right here in the middle of this, but we've got right here where this paint still is, right by my fingernail, there's a dent right there, and so it's rolling that edge of this cut up because there was a dent. So there's not much. I mean, we'll do a little probably filler along here after the fact, and we'll make it pretty that way, but we're not gonna bead on it anymore right now, because we really aren't gonna get any better than that, because that dent has deformed that metal. We can come down here. When we get down here, we'll fix this a little bit right here. You can see the edge where this is a little bit higher than this. But we're gonna come in, we're gonna tack right there where they're happy, and then we can manipulate this just a little bit more. There we go. That's all we needed. That's Budamus. You get the hang of it. We're gonna go in. We need to let it cool a little bit. Then we're gonna come back in. Eventually, all this will get filled up with ticky tacks, and then we'll hit it with the this wheel, the flap disc, smooth it all out, go over it again, use the light, check for holes, do it again, and then I'm gonna bring you back in here and show you where we're at. All right, we're in good shape. We did our light test. We got all our holes filled. Now, if you look real close, you'll see a line under here. That's the bottom of our tack welds. And you got to be a little bit careful. There's just a little bit of a divot there. And we're not going to risk continuing to flap wheel this just to get rid of this, when potentially what we'll do is we'll make this metal up here real thin and this metal real down here real thin, because we are at that kind of spot where it goes from sort of flat to sort of round to more round. It's going to require a little bit of paint and a little bit of blending. So what we're going to do is we'll take just a little bit with a fine skim of glaze right across that weld, and then we'll touch up this corner just a little bit so it looks nice and rounded, and we'll prime and paint over that. But that panel's in, so we're starting to see things, you know, come back to life, and it's way better. Old, new, old, new. Much better, right? All right, now we're on to, oh, my baldness is showing. Hang on. Like it matters. Now we're on to our final piece over here. And remember, break, break, break. And then this is going to get seamed right here because there is no break to get to. So we're going to measure this up. Hopefully it's fairly rectangulars, and we can make, you know, a box just like this one, but, you know, bigger. Here's what we're working with. We need, it's almost square. We're a little bit long on the back. This is the front of the Bronco. We need 10 3/8. That's the size of our opening in the back, 10 1/4 in the front. Now front to back, it's 6 3/4 all the way around. So we are basically building a rectangle here, but we're gonna, you know, we're gonna make it out of cardboard since it isn't exactly square, and, you know, do some test fits and things so when we get to the metals part, we're right. One thing to note, we're gonna have a break on each side edge, so we're adding 3/4 here, 3/4 here for 1.5 inches. So this is going to be 11 3/4 wide total, and then we're going to add 3/4 for the front break to this measurement, so we're going to be 7.5 here. Like that. We're a little off on that one. That'd be okay though. There is our patch panel. Let's get over here and see what it does for us. You're gonna get like bird's eye view and stuff. A little light for you and everything. What we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here. Now the cardboard bends, so it's not completely realistic to what we're dealing with, but it'll give us a jumping off point. We're catching up here for some reason. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that's how that's gonna fit when it's steel, except it's gonna be flatter and fit better. There's our piece. A couple days later, and here's what we've got. All kind of polished up. We went ahead and drilled the holes for our plug welds on these two short sides. Remember, the holes for our plug welds on the long side, we made that part of our patch on the back of the wheel tub here. So the first thing we're gonna break here, by break I mean put a bend in it, we're gonna break this long side here, and we're gonna break this down. So it needs to go on the opposite ways over to the Harbor Freight press brake. By the way, we picked this gem up, I don't know, a year, a little more ago, and did a couple mods to it. Go back and watch that video. It's working pretty well. The one thing I'll say right off the get though is, yeah, 18 gauge is the limit. You don't want to be trying to do 16 or thicker. It's just not going to work. Lock that down. I like it. There's our brake. Now, this guy should be pretty close. That's how we're going to work there. Now let's break this edge, and then we'll measure carefully so we know we're getting this brake right up against our flange down here. On this one we can't do a 90. We don't have the proper. I suppose we could put it all the way over here on the end. Could we do that? If we went like this, I don't think we can get there. Maybe we can. Let's see here. We might be able to do this. I'll get you in on a little closer look here, but it's not. I'm going to beam that up. We got a little bit of a weld in our way there. Otherwise we could. I just realized something on shorter pieces on this brake. So it's hard on this style brake to do a 90 on one edge, and then if you want to come in, if you want to come in and do another 90 here, you can't put that 90 you just bent in the brake. And if you come in and bend it this way, you can only get so much, and then your 90 will hit the brake bar, is what I'm going to call it, up here. However, we can come along the edge over here, I think, depending on what side we need to brake, and we can slide her right in here. And if we do that, then that allows this little corner here to stay out of harm's way while we pull up and bend this to a 90. Now, the only thing stopping us from having this be successful, and I apologize for the camera work because I'm trying to do three-handed stuff with two hands, is down here you got these two little pieces of guide steel. I think all they do is make sure that these two things don't get too far out of whack, and they're tack welded here and here. And if we can take those two tack welds and knock them down, I think we'll be fine, because right now our plate is sitting on top of those welds, and that's going to bung it all up. So we're going to take a quick break from this video, and we're going to do a short on our next upgrade to this Harbor Freight brake, because I think we're onto something here. We are back, and the free mod worked. We tested it for the short video on that end, and then we remeasured and made a new line. You can't really see it because it's under the brake here, but we're going to now, with this first initial long brake sticking out through here, we can pull this up and make this a 90 and have a 90-degree brake on 3 sides of this patch panel. So let's get that done, and then hopefully I measured right and it fits where it's supposed to go. There ain't no turning back now. There's your box. Let's take it over here. Give you a bird's eye view again. I should get some light for you. Let's do that. And here we go. Right in. Well, right in here. Oh, that's gonna be nice, you guys. We gotta trim this back edge a little bit so that we can get it in there the way we want it to be. Oh yeah, this is looking good. I'm gonna shave just a tickle bit off of this back edge. We're about right on the outside. We gotta clean up this corner, but then we're about almost 1/8 of an inch, a little bit long here. And that might be partly because we've got a little bit of a goober here that we need to grind down, and we've got a little nub in there we need to grind down. So let's clean things up just a little bit and we'll catch you back. There. There we go. Oh, look at that, you guys. We're gonna go right down into there. Yee-haw. Okay, we got a little bit of shaving to do. We're here probably all along here until about this mark that I made previously, because we didn't cut a real straight line here, but that's okay. But golly, dudes and dudettes, it ain't even in there square and, you know, flush and level, and it looks pretty darn good. I don't mind it a bit. I hope you guys don't mind it a bit. I really hope the customer doesn't mind it. Get it out of there. We're going to shave on this edge a little bit and just keep trying and trying until we get her where we're happy. All right, well, would you look at that? We are in, and we are really, you know, super happy about it. Now you see there's a little gap here. We're very happy here, here, and here. So what we're going to do, remember, this is all plug welded to this piece, same over here, same under here. So we won't stitch any of those three sides. This side will get stitched from the top down. So what we need to do, we're going to put one little ticky tack here because we want this little ridge here looking really nice. And then we'll go underneath, we'll tack plug weld here, and we'll tack plug weld here. Then we can go in, we've got a little bit of a gap in the middle of here. That's just a little bit of bend in that piece. But we can go in then and push this forward and down so we can get this all flush, tack along here. Then we can get tacked here underneath into plug weld, and then we can pull this together and plug weld all those, and then finally finish up with this stitch here and the rest of the plugs. That's the plan. I'm not gonna fast forward music yet on this one because there's gonna be underneath and on top and probably some swear words because it's not horrible to get to, but it is gonna be a little bit of a twister game getting in there and getting this stuff, well, glued together. All right, we are back at it. We're ready to start doing the chemicals. So everything's patched up. We went ahead this morning and we went in from underneath. We had a couple more pinholes here that we could get to and get sealed up. So that's solid. This side is solid. Then we took wire brushes in the drill and in the impact driver type thing. We went through and we chipped out any loose seam sealer through all these seams right here in this, you know, back area and up to right back in here on both sides. And then we also cleaned up the floor pan areas. We got some old painter's tape stuck over there that I should have taken off a long time ago. We're going to get that cleaned up and get the glue off of there. And then we'll wipe all these seams down and all these areas that are going to get treated with wax and grease remover. And then it'll be seam sealer time. Now on the seam sealer, on these right angle jobs, we're just going to run a bead and smooth it with a finger. And then on these flat jobs, we'll run a bead and then we'll smooth it with a paintbrush, a narrow paintbrush with the bristles cut way down so they're real stiff. And that'll flatten that out and make it look really nice. It'll look just like this when it's complete. And then we'll wipe it down again and we'll put our rust encapsulator paint on. And then on the parts that are going to get some red, we've got a little more filler work to do here on that kick panel. Same with that kick panel. We'll do a little filler as needed in these areas in the back of this wheel tub and the back of this wheel tub. And then that'll get primed, cleaned up really well, primed, and then spritzed with the Viking red. And we'll blend that up and do a little hand buffing so life looks pretty good. And then, believe it or not, that will mark the end of rust repair on this rig. I'm kind of excited about that. Okay, I apologize. It's been a couple days and I was in the editing last night and I kind of forgot where we left off with this. I thought I did an outro at a particular time and place and I didn't. So here's where we are. We're going to end this video here. We've got her welded in, and kind of ignore this because, well, we did all that before we shot this too, but all welded in, solid, solid, solid. Seam sealer has been applied like we told you we were going to do it. Both sides are done. We touched up all the seam sealer up here. We can come under here and I'll show you. Here's the back side of it. Turned out just really nice, you guys. There's a little drip of seam sealer back there, but ignore that. We'll peel that off. But plug welds, everything looks super nice. We're really happy with that. I appreciate everybody for sticking around and watching our stuff. It's kind of hard sometimes to figure out where you want to cut a chapter in a video, and yeah, I just forgot to do it. So we're gonna break this one off here. Thanks for watching our stuff. We'll see you on the next one.